Might have to change it from family to X-rated, though.
Well, I'm not saying she's going to do that.
You don't know Karen.
Ain't that the truth?
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Ted Mater has rewatched Star Trek The Original Series, Season 3, Episode 12, Plato's Stepchildren, 1968. And we are joining him. I'm Dave Mater, coming to you here on Live Long and Podcast with Star Trek TV and movie reviews. Joining studio today with me is Jody Simpson.
I am.
Jody.
Thank you.
Also coming to us over the line, Adam Woodward and Karen Rondeau. Neighbors. Yes, neighbors. Yes, I didn't.
We always have to say that. I'm kind of getting suspicious. I don't know about you.
Yeah. And of course, we're joined by Ted Mater. Dad, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. You?
I'm good.
The inspiration of the show.
The inspiration here, rewatching these episodes. And now, this episode was Adam's pick this week. And Adam, I never watched this the full way through. And I got to thank you because of this, I have an image now of Captain Kirk riding around like a horse, going nay, nay, with a little person on his back.
Yes, little person. That's what we have to say.
Yes.
That's the proper terminology.
Isn't it a great episode?
I don't know if great's the word.
I love this episode.
It is something special, I have to say. There we go. Because I'm going to bring you in here some of that right now because I think it's worthy.
There it is. Whoa!
And McCoy thinks it's horrific.
The best thing is McCoy's look on his face. He's just like, "Oh, what is this?
Yes.
Why am I on this show?"
I don't think he knows they're never coming back from this point in their friendship.
Yeah. At this point, he's like,
my friend.
Do you think maybe he's actually thinking, maybe he'll get a horsey ride later?
Perhaps.
It's possible.
I don't know. He's like, where is this going? This can only get worse.
Yeah.
This is only day one.
It did get worse.
I signed up to go on a Galaxy Starship and go look at new things, not watch Kirk ride around like a horse. All right.
He's like, I'll stay. Just
imagine in the Kelvin timeline how they handle this. That'd be a whole other issue. Anyway.
That would be a whole different thing.
Yes. Anyway.
Okay, so Dad, what was your reaction to this?
Actually, this was a very good episode. I thought it was very kept you enthralled right to the end. Good episode. I liked the little character, little man Alexander. He was funny, and it was good. Kept you interested right to the end.
Karen, I want to hear from you. What was your take on this episode? What's the headline for you coming out of Plato's Stepchildren?
The Uhura kiss. I got to tell you, I would have grabbed that man and hauled him right down onto that bed. I would have done that.
Well, yeah.
I need no prompting whatsoever.
Did you like that
PG Karen?
GB.
Well,
yes. So I enjoyed the chatting between the two of them.
Yeah, it was.
Was that the first interracial kiss?
That was.
It was on TV. Yes. Although it's forced, so does
it's a forced kiss. And on top of that, honestly, Karen, did you see that kiss? It's not a good kiss.
No, it was not a good kiss. It wasn't.
No. If you're gonna have your fun with your Kirk, I would imagine you want something a little bit better than that.
Yeah, I need a little bit more to work with than that.
Did any of you feel uncomfortable with Nurse Chapel and Spock?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I was uncomfortable. I'm always uncomfortable seeing Nurse Chapel anyway. I always think to myself, what is Roddenberry thinking right now? When he was alive and this was being shot and he was on set and watching his mistress, I guess at the time.
With his other mistress.
Another mistress. Yeah. How does he feel about that?
It's all part of the acting.
I think the horsey rides and Spock singing are probably the two highlights of this episode.
But Nurse Chapel, she said that she was looking forward to it and that she'd thought about kissing Spock before.
Many times.
Well, And the same thing happened with Chapel with Uhura as well, because she's like, there's been so many times when, I've been fearing or whatever she said, and but then I heard your voice and I just wanted it, and it's like, okay.
She's always afraid.
I know. She's frightened. True to form. Uhura is frightened again. Captain, I'm so frightened.
But out of the four of them, let's be honest, Uhura is the only one that was actually doing acting in that entire scene.
Yes.
It was you believed what she was saying.
There had been prior episodes in the series where Chapel and Spock
and
had been
Chapel,
set
yeah.
up. Not so much Uhura and Kirk, but there was some feelings expressed here. And so, Adam, are you familiar with the Kelvin universe?
The which?
The Kelvin timeline,
yeah,
like the new ones, yeah.
Right, like so in that one, Spock and Uhura are an item.
Yeah.
But I think it's not right. I think they got it wrong. I think it actually should be.
I just want to see Chris Pine give horsey rides to that spiky thing that hangs out with Spock or with Scotty.
With Scotty.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
The one that spits acid.
Well, like so, yeah, like the little guy. Right?
How do you follow that? I guess is really what it comes down to.
No, you have this guy.
Well, we're right at the end of the episode, and really, we should probably be talking about the beginning of the episode.
Okay, at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is that it's a distress call.
Yes. Yeah.
And
There was no empty ship though.
There's no what?
Empty ship with all the crew dead.
We've beaten our streak here of dead Constitution.
Yeah, you know what? It's nice not seeing a whole crew full of salt.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
Well, even on Star Trek Radio Theater this week, we're going to be doing the original series, and we're doing the one where he turns them not into salt, but into like hexagon salt things.
Yes. It's like a crystal kind of
any
thing.
other name.
Yes.
The crystalline thing.
Yeah.
Rojan.
Which
we're gonna have to. Cover
I'm doing two voices for that, so I probably should watch the episode.
I'm only playing the villain, but okay.
You're playing a villain?
Rojan.
Oh, excellent.
Anyway,
we'll plug that later.
I'm off track.
We'll plug that later, Dave.
Yeah, we'll plug that later.
Practice.
So they come down here, and McCoy has to help this guy because he cut his leg. And on this planet, these guys, if they even get a sliced cut or injury, they could die. So but other than that, they have no need for medicine or medical arts.
And they're 2,000 years old.
Yes, they're 2,000 years old.
Yeah, and they're essentially like they're almost like Khan. They're like a super species, I guess, where they've kind of bred everything out, right?
Yeah, but apparently their backstory is that thousands of years ago they lived on Earth with us, and they loved like the Greek mythology. And so when they left, when that kind of went out of fashion on Earth, they just took off.
I think Kirk just wanted to wear a skirt. I think that's really what it was.
Well, it was kind of a dress at the end.
It was kind of a dress, yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. It was, So,
but wait a second. So they were 2,000 years old. They haven't bred anything out. The environment created them, right?
So what they eat.
No. So what they actually say in the episode is that when they were traveling or whatever, they and now correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I thought I interpreted, was that they genetically modified themselves, but they didn't have this superpower thing that they have in the episode. When they got to the planet, they got this superpower, right, where they could like manipulate items and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But they're like a super. Because they originally say that when they first get there, and the guy's got a scrape on his leg, and they kind of explained, well, yeah, we bred everything out, but now we don't have a defense for a simple scrape, right? At least that's what I thought anyway, but I could be wrong. Oh, I think we got a new entry here.
Yeah, with Jeff on.
Jeff,
you're in with us, but you're on audio.
Okay.
Welcome, Jeff.
Or you can come upstairs if you want, Jeff. Go on.
No, I don't want to deal with the 15-second time delay that you got.
Am I still on delay?
You seem fine right now.
Okay.
I see you're all right. Yeah. So, did you watch Plato's Stepchildren, Jeff?
I did not. I'm sorry, but I have fun facts.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, we'll bring it in for that.
In the meantime,
Why came on?
we're talking this episode. Yeah, what do you make of this whole story? Dad, you like this episode?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Unless he has another dad.
No, I already thought I answered this. That I thought it was
Yeah,
I think he did
I
too,
think
but
it's-
that's all right.
I think it's a great episode. Yeah.
it's
I
a
threw
great
him off.
episode.
Oh yeah, it's in the top
I
5.
guess I didn't believe you the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. My feelings on this episode are not a top 5 episode.
I thought it was very good.
It wasn't bad, I guess, but it wasn't good. Like I like some of the things that came out of it. Like for instance, an interracial kiss. That's a very that was a very trendy thing back then. Like it's that was unheard of, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that barrier got broken with this episode.
Isn't this the episode where Kirk and Spock are playing hopscotch?
It looks kind of like that. Yeah.
And Kirk was a horse.
He was a horse at one point.
He was a horse. But, yeah, there's
Not physically a horse, but
Yeah, he was jumping around like a horse.
yeah, jumping around like a horse. Yeah.
And Spock and Kirk got to dance together.
Right.
Oh yes. There was some painful dancing. Oh, I think we have a clip. Oh, here it comes.
He's going to do the robot.
Oh, look at this.
He looks like he's having an orgasm.
Look at McCoy's face, though. McCoy's face is just like, I didn't sign up for this shit.
That says it all. He's like, "What? He's like, when is this show ending? Are we?
Yeah, it's like, we're on the 3rd season, right? This is the last one. We're good? All right.
we got 14 more of these. Okay.
I got to call in another 14 episodes, and then I'm good.
Yeah, I guess that's when I asked you if you would like it. It was good. Adam, what's your take on this episode?
This episode, it's memorable for sure.
Oh, 100%.
You're right about Captain Kirk playing the horse. I've never forgotten that neigh.
It's not even a normal neigh either.
Horses in real life.
And I always wondered if Alexander made it to be in Time Bandits. If he was one of those guys, but I don't think so. He's probably too old. But
That's a good theory. I never even thought of that.
I don't know if I don't like episodes where I don't like the storylines where people are forced to do things that they don't want to do, honestly. And this is and humiliated. And everybody in the show from the Enterprise was completely humiliated.
Yeah.
For the captain, Spock, forced to sing. The women, which, by today's standards would never, ever show up, I don't think, in an episode like that. What they were forced to do. And, if it was today, it would be a lot worse, I imagine, on TV. But, I think that you could really feel the humiliation of the crew in that episode and how badly they were treated. And, and just to let people live, and we're walking away. No problem. I don't trust you, but go ahead. Live your life.
And you know what, Adam, that brings up a very good point, because the one thing that Dave and I have always talked about, I'm sure he can attest to, is that I've always been angry with the original Star Trek series and how it ends episodes. Like, I know it's got a 50-minute gap, like that's all it can do. Next Gen usually kind of it found a way to kind of at least tie it up for the most part.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I find a lot of the episodes just abruptly end. Like you're like, well, you're not, like, nothing's gonna happen. Like, what did I just sit through this for?
It abruptly begins and it abruptly ends.
Yeah, it's almost like it's just a snapshot in time. Like, they don't actually have the full story. Yeah. It's almost like the story is like, we have this 50-minute cut of the story. You know what I mean? Like, and I know there's like restrictions and stuff like that, but you can't tell me that I needed a 4-minute horsey ride scene when you could have gave me 2 minutes at the end on, oh, well, we're going to make this guy pay or something like that, or we've blocked this planet.
What is
or
the exact conclusion of the story?
The exact conclusion is he brought the little guy up to the ship. That was it.
And gave them a stern talking to that they would never do this again to anyone else that came. But
that's right.
Years. So
ask a school teacher how that works. Like,
That doesn't seem like good planning.
No. It's
I never heard of any more uprisings from those Platonias, and so there was no more issue.
There wasn't a demand to bring, I think, the species back.
No, I don't think anybody said, you know what, we need a second episode of these guys.
The Platonians are a loose end we have to tie up.
Yeah, they're almost like we made Kirk ride like a horse.
I don't know.
I think we're good here.
Okay, they should just come back. Like, yeah, they weren't very nice, but yet again, it's another alien species that looks exactly like humans.
No, every story, that's what the point I wanted to make, is every story in the original series seems to be, hey, let's do a mafia episode on an alien planet, and they become a mafia civilization. Let's do a Greek Plato kind of idea, and it's an alien planet. Let's do
Nazis.
Let's do Nazis. Let's do it's just over and over and over. The original series is what they did. And sometimes it pays off, like sometimes it's a really good episode, but I prefer that they would do more what they did with the time travel with like the Joan Collins episode. I prefer that concept. At least they were like a little bit more creative. But
and it's a clean ending too. Like that episode, like when you're done that episode, you're like, okay, well, pretty much everything's wrapped up and we're good to go, right?
Yeah, I think in Next Generation they solved that problem by putting out, like, we put the beacons around the planet. Don't come here; it's quarantined.
But you know what? That took them 10 seconds to say in Next Gen. Like,
well, at least they came up with a conclusion.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, no one's gonna come by because there's beacons now that tell them to like stay away. Okay, well that makes sense.
But the other flaw in this one was that if they all have that power to push everyone around, is the only person they're pushing around that little Alexander?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's basically what he said. Yeah, he said like I'm literally like the pincushion, right? Like.
Yeah, it's hard to watch in some ways because.
Well, it's and Adam brought that point up pretty good. Like it's a very degrading episode. Like it's very degrading to like literally almost the entire characters on this episode. Like at the end of it, like I don't think I'll ever see Kirk the same way. Like and I won't see Spock the same way. And even Uhura and Nurse Chapel even. To a lesser degree, but it's a weird. It's weird to put your characters through this type of episode. You know what I mean? Like it.
And there's no real conclusion. I feel like in Next Gen they would have given this more of a conclusion.
There would have been something like he would have had to pay for his sins or something.
They would have sent a doctor to be on the planet full time, or train somebody to be a doctor in Next Gen.
Yeah, they would have like said, "Oh, here's our medical knowledge. Study it or something."
Or we'll neutralize the something that makes you, gives you this power or something like that. So you have to actually work.
One of the reviews on IMDb says, "I'd forgive this episode for some dated tendencies, but 20+ minutes of dull filler and most of all a sizist joke to close the episode are unforgivable. If you can, despite the famous interracial kiss, I'd skip this one."
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think you're really gaining anything from watching this episode. Like you're not progressing any character here. You're not there. There's nothing really to gain other than this interracial kiss, and that was more of a social thing than anything. I'm sure that's a good thing. Let's be honest. Like I'm glad that happened. But it's one of those things that
this way though. I don't know.
Yeah, and even then, it almost looks like. It's a terrible time.
And how, honestly, when you actually dissect it further, though, it was a forced kiss. It wasn't even a mutual kiss. It was a forced.
That's right. Yeah, it's not like the two of them wanted to do.
Very uncomfortable. I would not have liked Kirk's lips.
Yeah, right.
He had his eyes open the whole time.
We already know you're biased towards Kirk. All right.
Yeah, young Kirk.
Did you notice Kirk's the only one that shows a nipple in this episode?
I didn't really notice that. I really.
Yeah.
Shaved his chest too.
Oh, here we go. We're queuing something up here.
Oh, here we go. The nipple.
I think. Oh no, I don't think there's a nipple in this. Well, there might be a nipple in this scene.
I can show you the nipple.
This is the kiss.
It's like they both don't want to do it. They're like, no, we can't, but we must. No,
we must. They wrote it. But look at that kiss. Like, who would want to have that kiss?
I don't know. In all of the first episode, like all of the first whatever.
I'm sure you would, Karen.
Yeah.
Here, I'll see if I can find that.
Well, we'll look on YouTube. I'm sure somebody's already done it.
Yeah.
There's probably less than you think.
Really? Well, I know that they did. There was an episode where somebody actually, on YouTube, they actually went through, is Kirk really that much of a womanizer? And it's like, well, if you actually go through it, he didn't really have sex with that many people.
That we know of.
Yeah. Kissing Kirk. There you go. Are we allowed to play this? Oh, it's even got like music.
Probably not.
It's got music to it.
I don't know if this is what we're looking for here. Oh, maybe it is. All right.
You want to be careful what comes up.
Yeah. We probably shouldn't play that without some sort
Family
of
show. It's a family show.
If anyone in TJ
already wrote that. Just kidding.
Hold on.
I got some good fun facts for this episode, guys.
Oh well, I don't know, Dave. Do you think it's a good time now for the fun facts?
Yeah, fun facts. Let's bring.
All right, fun facts with Jeff.
Let's bring in Jeff.
Okay, I got some good ones. You guys are going to be surprised.
All right,
Some of these
there's
fun
Jeff.
facts. Okay, fun fact number 1. Network executives ordered director David Alexander to shoot a take where Kirk and Uhura did not kiss, just so it would be available. However, Shatner crossed his eyes at the camera during this take, so the take was useless.
Wow, look at him.
This episode featured the first and only time both Uhura and Chapel were beamed down to a planet together, and both are a part of the central storyline.
I can believe that.
Okay, so fun fact number 3. In the UK, where interracial romance had already been depicted on television, the BBC dropped this episode and subsequent repeats purely on the violence factor, on the grounds that the sadistic treatment of the Enterprise crew was not suitable for its early evening time slot. It was first shown in the UK on satellite television some 25 years later and on the BBC in December 1993.
Well, there you go, Adam. Somebody paid attention to what you were saying.
Yeah. Brits.
All right, so this was the important one. Fun fact number 4, guys. Contrary to popular belief, this was not the first interracial kiss on American network television.
Oh.
This occurred in Movin' with Nancy when Nancy Sinatra kissed Sammy Davis Jr. voluntarily. When Captain Kirk and Uhura kiss, it's involuntary. They were forced to do it by aliens telekinetically controlling their bodies. The studio expressed some concern, and it was suggested instead that Spock should kiss Uhura to make it less of a problem for the Southern audience. Some stations at the South originally refused to air it.
Oh, God.
Wow.
I'm so glad I don't live back then. I'm telling you.
Yeah, right.
I would have been lynched just on some of the stuff I would have said.
I mean, we're still dealing with a lot of the same problems today. So
we are. They're just a little bit more masked, I guess.
Yeah. Fun fact number 5: Leonard Nimoy composed the Maiden Wine song himself. Is he played on a harp or whatever? Or,
Yeah.
Right. Nichelle Nichols said that this was her favorite episode. Nichelle Nichols also said that the Star Trek production offices received more mail on this episode than any other episode in the history of the series. And she said that none of it, surprisingly, was negative, which I don't believe for a second.
Yeah,
I don't believe that at all. But yeah, there was far too many racists back then. Yeah, there's got to be people with opinions, and there's going to be people that are going to be pissed
for
off
her.
about it.
It was probably career making. This is a big deal. I mean, no wonder she was a favorite episode.
Well, she's literally the center of attention in this episode for a while, right? Like she's
only comes in at the end, like for the last.
Yeah, but this is a big scene for her. Like you don't see a lot of her in the series, right? So I guess that makes sense.
And I mean, there's really not a lot of black women like actresses at this time that are like a big prominent role on a television series whatsoever.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
So I mean, really, I mean most of them were white women at this time. So she was really even like the first interracial kiss, it was a white woman kissing a black man, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, exactly.
Okay.
Love.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying that's Sidney Poitier's kiss later on.
Yeah, Sidney Poitier. When did that happen? Is that like a few years after this, or is that in a movie?
What's that movie called?
Yeah, movie. Yeah, To Serve with Love.
Yeah, To Serve with Love. Yeah.
Lulu.
Okay, so again about this kiss.
That was before this.
There is some dispute whether the kiss actually occurred. According to the on-screen footage, it appears that the actors' lips touched. However, both William Shatner and Nichelle Nichols claimed in Star Trek Memories that NBC exerted pressure to forbid lip contact and to use a clever camera technique to conceal the separation. If you look closely, you can tell that the actors' lips are not touching. The angle only makes it look that they might be slightly touching.
Dave, let's see it again.
Come on, Dave.
Okay, well, I had this.
AV Dave for the win. We'll get it queued up while Jeff's talking.
Yeah.
It's like a court of law.
The musical number that
Get to the bottom of this.
oh, he's already got it going.
Oh, there he goes. Hold on. Oh, I think we're a little far in.
That's after the kiss.
No, before.
No. Here it is. It's coming. All right, let's get a pause when
It
we get the
looks
log clip on there.
like they're so not trying to kiss each other, and it's so like awkward.
Anyway, all right.
Now,
The musical number.
no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. The musical number that Kirk and Spock are forced to perform consists of lines from different parts of "Through the Looking Glass" from Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. So they're kind of riffing on that. I guess that makes sense with the chessboard, and there's a bunch of that kind of.
Yeah, there was a couple things here that kind of screamed Alice in Wonderland. Yeah.
Okay, so just last couple here. This is Alexander Courage's last score for the Star Trek. This episode was also the last episode to have an original score. All new songs for Star Trek, The Way to Eden, and Johannes Brahms' paraphrase for Star Trek Requiem for Methuselah were composed. So I guess they just recycled old scores, or this is the last one.
The Way to Eden is an atrocity of Star Trek.
Right, we watched that. That was the space hippies, right?
Your favorite?
Oh, it is. Oh, it's brutal. Anyway,
it was something else. There was one other one here that's very interesting. George Takei couldn't work on this episode because he was shooting the Green Berets, 1968.
Yeah.
And this episode is the perfect illustration of how the immune system of the body will break down if not utilized. In this case, the Platonians had weakened their bodies from the lack of use, greatly diminishing their resistance and tolerance to the most minor of injuries. The body's internal safeguards always have to be working in order to be totally effective, which is a great metaphor for today.
There you go.
So that's it. That's Fun Facts with Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Fun facts. We still got it. We still got to get a jingle for you, Jeff.
We need to get that going.
And you know, Barbara Babcock, the Parm's wife, she starred in Hill Street Blues, because I'm thinking, I've seen her before. She was in Hill Street Blues, Far and Away, Chicago Hope, China Beach, and Fraser.
I just brought in some kissing for Kirk for you here.
There's some Kirk kissing scenes. There he goes. Oh, there he goes again.
I thought this would, be great.
There's a lot of kissing with Kirk. He's a kisser.
Like that one. Oh, I remember that. I do remember that. The boofy hair.
There you go. I remember that outfit. Can't remember what episode that is, but
he's wearing that same kind of like sleeveless shirt a lot.
He's with Mary Ann.
Have you ever noticed that almost all of his kissing scenes are sleeveless? That's interesting. Oh, he's got sleeves on that one.
That's what we're doing for Star Trek Radio.
Oh, that's with Pulaski right there.
The 70s.
That's Dr. Pulaski in Next Gen.
He did a lot of kissing.
Yeah.
He was a kisser, that one.
Star Trek was the William Shatner show.
No shirt there.
Contract said he had to kiss so many women.
Oh, wow. He was really having fun with that one.
No, he got married in that one.
Really?
Yeah, he got married.
Who?
Kirk.
What, William Shatner, you mean? Or
Yeah.
If I could take away anything from this series that I've been doing with you guys and your dad, is the original series had way too much dancing in it. There's too much Star Trek dancing.
There was always like a pretty girl for each episode. It was almost like they were trying to compete with James Bond. I find they wanted the Bond girl kind of. They wanted the Star Trek girls.
Or get the interest of the women at that time.
Maybe that's what it was, a studio decision. But like, TNG doesn't do that as much, or like the other Star Trek shows don't bring in like the supermodels.
Except for DS9.
DS9, yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, what you mean Dax and
Well, in that stupid that episode you guys did a little while, Alamarine or whatever.
oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. We'll do that again.
Oh God, no.
So what else? What else should we cover here on Plato's Stepchildren? Any thoughts? No? We said all there is to say? Maybe we have.
Yeah.
I'm glad the episode exists, I guess, because we got an interracial kiss, but it turns out it wasn't that important.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Like,
What about those ratings, Dave?
Well, we still got to do
Dave?
that.
the ratings, of course.
Ted's running the show now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just reminding
Well,
him.
it's your dad,
Yeah.
He's probably got something to watch at 9:00.
No.
Just kidding.
Actually, I have the last 3 episodes of Lilyhammer. Have you ever seen that show?
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it. My wife has watched it, but I haven't.
Watch it. It's hilarious.
I heard it's pretty good.
It's a mobster, but he's in Norway.
Yeah, I can't remember the main character's name.
It's Steven Van Zandt.
Is that his real name?
No, he's in Bruce Springsteen's band.
Yeah, he's the guitarist.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy with the
We
bandana.
got the headband.
All right. It's time for the ratings.
Okay, here we go.
Karen, I feel like Kirk could wear your shirt.
I feel he already has.
Okay, I'm going to give this episode a 5.
You're very generous, Dave.
Jeff, you didn't actually watch the episode, did you?
I'm watching it right now. I mean, I'm almost at the end.
Do you want to give a rating?
Karen, what would you give this episode?
Well, I was rather uncomfortable with them being made, the mind pushing them around. So I was rather uncomfortable with that, but it picked up when Kirk kissed Uhura. So I would like to give it probably an 8.9.
Wow, that's
very generous.
Dad?
No.
One other thing I'd like to say is, when Bones beams down onto every planet, and no matter what the ailment, he takes out that same thing and jabs them with it. Bones has got one magical medical kit.
Yeah, it's a hypo spray.
With the magic
Yes.
Everything.
It's like a mini
except for the time when he injected himself.
Yeah.
Murders.
That's
Murders.
a little bit of a boo-boo.
I have that here somewhere.
Yeah, you got that on the soundboard. Oh, hold on, it's coming. Murders, assassins. Yeah, there we go.
Dad, what's your rating?
I would give it an 8.4.
Adam?
7.5.
7.5. This is Adam's dog.
We can't see her.
We can't
What's he
see anything
doing?
right now.
I thought you meant the episode is Adam's dog.
I'll just
What? Me? You know what, Dave? I'm gonna go with you. I think a 5 is a solid. It's not a terrible episode, but it's definitely not like what I would consider a good episode.
I don't know what the IMDb rating is.
We should probably find that out. Yeah.
Guys, consider the
6.6.
Oh, now I can see the dog. Okay.
8.6?
6.6.
6.6.
I think you put that on your show.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
is
consider
going
how-
on?
We don't have Jeff's.
This has
Wait.
gone to the dogs.
That means it's a 7.0, which means it's okay. Not the worst, not the best.
Okay, this is good for you.
That's kind of how I feel about this episode. It's not the worst, but it's not the best. That sums it up.
Next week we're watching
right here.
The Balance of Terror, which is
I can't hear anything right now.
Hey guys, you're talking too loud. Hey,
There
sorry.
we go. Oh, no worries.
next week we're watching The Balance of Terror with the Romulans. Excited?
That's a good episode. I remember that episode. Yeah. Balance of Terror.
Yeah.
Is that the first Romulan? That's the first Romulan one, right?
Yeah, it's got Mark Leonard as the Romulan commander.
Yep.
It's a real submarine battle in space.
Yeah, it's basically like Hunt for Red October in space. That's pretty much what it is.
A little bit,
Yeah.
It's like a classic World War II story almost. But
Yeah.
different
Yeah,
setting.
it's a good episode from what I remember.
I watched the next gen episode the other day where Sarek was, when they first diagnosed him with Bendai syndrome, and he was losing control. But he was good in that episode.
He's a great actor. Really great.
He was pretty consistent for all of the next gen stuff. He was pretty
And
good.
The movies.
And the movies even. Yeah, he was pretty good in the
Way
movies
more
too.
stuff in the movies.
Good actor.
All right, everyone. Well, if there's no final thoughts, I am going to probably plug something. So.
Well, you should.
I have one final thought.
Oh, please.
Okay, well, Jeff,
More of a question. I'm watching the end of the episode right now.
Okay.
Do you think Kirk and Spock were wearing underwear? Because these toga skirts are real short.
I would hope they were. I think Leonard Nimoy probably was because he was a pretty conservative dude.
Right.
Shatner probably was definitely winging it.
He was freeballing it.
He was commando for sure. Yeah, he was. He was like, look at the dangleberries, ladies.
I mean, you're shooting, 24-hour days. You got, you're sweating. I mean, I don't know.
They probably burnt those outfits after they were done. They probably stunk so bad.
Yeah, probably. All right, plug your thing.
Plug your stuff,
Dave.
Dave.
Too. Okay, well, hold on.
Space.
She has the small
Final frontier.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So, Star Trek Radio Theater on Saturday afternoon. Check it out. We're going to have 2 new cast members, Nightingale Nguyen and Michael Chan, joining us as we're going to be reenacting an original series episode for the first time. Trials and Tribulations was kind of close. Jody, you're reprising your role as Scotty.
I am, but I'm also muted, so no one can hear me anyway.
They can hear me.
Oh, well, they can probably hear me on your mic.
Yeah,
But anyway.
they always hear you. On my mic.
Oh.
So,
They're attacking!
well, anyway, check that out. We're gonna have a lot of fun with that one. I expect that to be a really good time. And Ashley Menard once again will be the narrator. Also, join us on. Here we go. Join us on Tuesdays for Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We're going to be continuing our Trek 3.5-year journey, and we'll be doing another Bajoran episode, a Kira focused episode next week. Still as we're kind of like episode 14, I believe now, into the first season. So check that out as well. Anyway,
It's the old man that won't leave his cottage episode.
Yeah, the old man who won't leave his cottage. And also, Super Mater Brothers podcasting. Check that out tonight. We're going to be talking Survivor with Josh Foster. That's exciting.
What are we doing, Dave? Are we watching? Are we talking about the whole season, or are we just talking about the first
the
episode?
whole season of Millennials versus Gen X?
Okay.
Get ready. Get ready for that tonight. Anyway, thank you, Adam and Karen. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Jody. Jeff.
Okay, guys.
Everybody. And have a great night.
Oh,
See you next time.
See you guys.
All right.
Take care.
See you.